By the way, I have a free medical tip for you today.
Awesome.
It's a proven method.
You know, why don't we start the show and then we can...
All right.
Believe the lie, so everything that I know says I gotta go, tired of going solo. But I'm never gonna go there again. This is what it is. This is who I am. This is where I finally take my stand. I didn't want to fall, but I don't have to crawl. I'm not the one with two scarred hands. Giving him the best of everything that's left of the life inside this man. I've been born again.
Yes, we are. We are born again. Michael Tate, the Newsboys.
Yeah.
Mike, a good friend of mine, and my family's. We've known him for, wow, man.
That's a
30-some years.
That's the classic opener to the show.
Yes, the
you
classic.
did your little R&B retro last week.
Is that what I did? I don't even remember.
Yeah.
The last one I remember is when we were kind of honoring David Crosby, the atheist.
No, this one, you started out, I said, I'm waiting for it.
It was What's Going On.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
And
Spinners. No, not What's Going On. It was I'll Be Around.
Yeah.
We'll Be Around.
And I was expecting a little Barry White action, you know.
Oh, yeah. Well, you'll have to tune into last week's. You have to get last week's show. But anyway, so what medical. I was going to give people. Okay.
Those of you who got the pre-show, this is the.
Yeah. We were talking about, I have a back issue this morning. So if you see me, one of those, it's because my lower back, I did
and
something.
I irritated the heck out of him.
Yeah, that's what it is. He's a pain in my butt, but this is a little higher. But no, seriously, I don't know how I think I self-discovered this. It's the weirdest thing, but it's dealing with hiccups.
Really?
A cure for hiccups.
Oh.
It's not scaring people. It's not drinking water upside down or anything like this. Okay. So now, hear me now, believe me later. Okay. Just try this. And this is especially for children. Okay. If you have kids, because kids get hiccups more than adults.
Sure.
But here's the funny, I'll tell you a quick story. I'm in a Bible study, men's group morning, and sitting next to me is this doctor. I mean, no joke. The doctor's like 50 years old, and he's got this hiccup. He said, guys, I don't know what the deal is, but I've had this hiccup for like 2 days, and I can't get rid of this hiccup. And I said, are you serious? He said, yeah, everything. I can't get rid of this hiccups. I said, well, you're a doctor, so I'm sure, I mean, if you haven't found a remedy, I'll tell you what I do. So you might want to try this.
Suspense is building.
I know. So I'd say take a deep breath, breathe in as much as you can until you cannot breathe anymore and hold it. So he does. I said, okay, now hold it. And in your mind, count down from 30. So in your mind, you count 30, 29, 28. Not breathing out, but it's in your mind. You still. But most people can't hold it for 30 seconds. You finally go, around 15 or somewhere in there. So anyway, after whatever he did, whatever number he got down to, he got, and so we decided, we went on with the Bible study. And I kept hearing this muttering over here, and he was going, oh man. He says, I can't believe it. I can't believe this works. I can't believe it. But every person I have ever shown this to, it works. It never fails. And all of my children, I've taught it to my children. I've taught it to friends' children. I've taught it to friends. So, a free piece of medical advice from Father Eddie, Dr. Huff. By the way, Dave and I were talking earlier. I have a degree in afrophysics. I'm an afrophysicist.
Yeah.
So, by the way, I'm the only one to have that title of afrophysicist. But anyway, so if you ever have anyone with that condition, hiccups, and they're having a hard time getting rid of the hiccups, try it. Tell them to breathe in as much as they can without letting it go until they can't get any more air into their lungs. hold it and count 230 or down from 30. And by the time they're done, their hiccups will be gone.
Yeah. Now, hiccups, from my understanding, it's your esophagus spasming. So it's a muscular thing, an involuntary.
Well, yeah, but it's triggered apparently by there's an air pocket or something.
Right. Typically that's, and a good belch sometimes will get rid of it. And yeah, kids don't learn. My daughter had a hard time belching, and she'd get hiccups. Finally, when she was 9, we're sitting at the table, and all of a sudden she let out a big belch. And she's like, I can't believe I finally belched for the first time in my life. Well, since childhood,
Yeah,
but my daughter-in-law gets hiccups almost every day.
Okay.
It just has a chronic.
Well, try it. Tell her to try that.
Yeah.
And see if that doesn't.
Hey, here's a weird one. KRMG Radio back in the 90s had their traffic guy, Doc Nelson. And he, one time, he went a week of having hiccups. And they finally figured it out. He was allergic to a medicine he got prescribed for the first time. But it made national news.
I wish I could have met Doc and helped him out in that, in that time, in that predicament. But no, seriously. It has worked every time, and it happened. I think I was in college when I might have been high school, but it's just something, I don't know how, why, what, call it God, I don't know, out of the blue. I just got this idea of taking a deep breath and holding it until my hiccups went away, or as long as I could.
Yeah.
But it worked, and it has worked ever since. And so when I get the hiccups, I still do it, and my hiccups are gone. Everyone I've ever recommended it to, it works. Your
body gets in this involuntary routine of just, that spasm, that hiccup.
Yeah,
right?
and I guess it pushes it.
And it's breaking that. And I guess that's the theory you're working on, is just holding your breath and then kind of, get so much air in there.
So that passes that one time.
Yeah.
And then it's gone. Yeah. So I don't know how, but it works.
And because we were talking, first of all, about muscle spasms. And some people get prescribed muscle relaxers.
Well, yeah, like if you haven't noticed, the very observant of you might have noticed, but I have a tic disorder. It's a mild form of Tourette's syndrome.
It gets worse when he's around me, but yeah.
Tourette, and I have Tourette's, but Tourette's doesn't have me.
Yeah.
No. That was an HBO special with these kids that all had Tourette's. I wept. I don't cry a lot, but I cried when I saw these little kids. And the reason I cried is because it was me when I was in grade school. And to see these poor kids, and I wish I could have been with them to let them know that, there is hope. But they talk to all these psychologists and everything, but to see these kids and the things they go through, but it was really bad. I don't know if we talked about this, but I used to, yell. Did I talk about this? How I would yell out in class, and it got so bad, and they would spank me. I would get paddled. They would take me out in the hall and paddle me every day.
Did you cuss like a sailor?
At one point, when I got to a certain age, yeah, I did.
Is Tourette's to blame?
Yes, yeah, it is. No, it is. But here's what's funny. But what you do to keep from getting in real trouble with the cursing, you hide it. So you say it so fast that nobody can understand what you just said. Right. That's what I did. At least, I came up, see, a lot of these things that I have, these remedies or things that I was doing to cover up. So I would say these words so fast. So when I moved to Philadelphia and got into the gang life, you have to have a good nickname, right? You have to have a nickname. Remember,
like Fat Albert.
You remember, you're going to put your hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
But do I cough real close? Is that what you want me to do?
No, I want you to put your hand up so I mute you, so I don't blow the mic. I got this. My nickname was the coolest nickname ever.
Really?
Yeah. It wasn't like Throat Slasher or no. Actually, it was Hiccups.
Really?
Because it sounded like I was hiccuping, but I was actually cursing under it just so fast. And people, so my
And this was in Philly.
Yeah, in Philly. My gang name, gang name was Hiccups.
If you don't understand it, pull up an old rerun on Cartoon Network of Fat Albert.
Yeah.
Everybody had a nickname.
Yeah. But we had, let's see, we had Twinkles.
Oh,
yeah. This is my gang buddies were Twinkles. There was Pretzels.
Yeah.
Pretzel. There was, Hiccups. I can't remember it. And I mean, some of these guys were downright, would kill you. But even with a name like Twinkle. Twinkles was probably the baddest of us all, Twinkles, Pretzel, I can't remember, what was, and like the one was named Frankie was Pretzels. And it's because he ate pretzels all the time. Okay. Twinkles, he wore glasses, so his glasses would twinkle,
Oh, yeah.
And then, I can't remember the name of all of them, but anyway, those were the two that stand out to me right now. But anyway, my gang name was Hiccups.
Yeah. When I was 6, I got to meet Vice President Hubert Humphrey. He came to our hometown, and actually it was, I think I was about 6. And his wife saw me. I was in that, reception.
You were 6.
Huh?
I was 6.
I was 6.
How much younger than me are you?
Well, this was in, 67? Might have been 68.
Oh, yeah, you're a bit younger
and,
than me.
I had bright red carrot top hair. And Muriel, his wife, sees it and says, Hub, come here. You got to shake this boy's hand. He comes up. He says, hey, Red, how you doing? And I was Red. And everybody called me Red until my hair started turning auburn, brown. I wasn't red. Somebody else in high school was Red because he had red hair. Okay. Then I got my cool name. So I was Van the Man in high school.
Right. So that's what I was going to ask you. So I was trying to relate this to gangs and hiccups and.
Oh, we're all over the place.
I know. Well, if you're
Tourette's. I don't have
if you're going to go there, then I'm going to drop the name when I met John F. Kennedy and LBJ on the same afternoon.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. No,
that's how I got the name Red. That was my nickname, in elementary school, but then I was Van the Man in high school.
Van the Man.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
See, Hiccups and Van the Man are a lot cooler than my high school name.
What was that?
Soul Nose.
Ah, yeah.
SN number 1. SN number 1. And I'll let you take a guess why. Yeah, me and a buddy, I'll tell you, we're taking up too much time. Anyway, these are crazy. I mean, I have these stories that, me and this buddy, Cool Breeze was his name in high school. But anyway, Larry Wills was his name. But he was Cool Breeze. But, anyway,
Can I ask?
He and I both had large noses. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And I was self-conscious of mine. He wasn't. And he taught me how to get over it. But anyway, so we became the Nose Brothers, and he was, I was Soul Nose 1, he was Soul Nose 2, but in football practice one day we were sitting on a hill, and we just started, telling these jokes, that people, he asked me, he said, cause he knew I was very self-conscious of the size of my nose. And so he said, so, okay, come on, you got to get over this. He said, what's the worst thing anybody ever said about your nose? And so I would tell him, and then he would tell me what they said about his. And so we're on this hill at football. We're in our football gear, sitting on this hill during a break, and we're just dying laughing because they were all different. And we're rolling down this hill, just cracking up during the break. And after that, it kind of cured me, and I didn't care anymore.
I knew a black guy in college that.
You knew a black guy?
In college that.
Flash. He knew a black guy. The pasty, redhead kid.
He handled this really well. And he just says, you want to know why I have a big nose? I said, why? He says, cause I got big fingers.
That's pretty good. The funniest one he told me, he said, has anybody ever told you they could look up your nostrils and see your heartbeat? I'll never forget that as long as I live.
My scoutmaster once said of one of my fellow patrol guys, he says, if that boy had gunpowder for brains, he wouldn't have enough to blow his nose. But anyway,
all right, we should probably move on. We should probably move on and get some real, relevant, world-shaking news.
I want to ask the astrophysicist before he leaves the building.
Yeah, from masochist. No, I'm sorry, okay, physicist.
It kind of goes into the, questions you always want to know about race, but we're afraid to ask.
There you go.
What's
I'm here for
wrong?
You.
What is so offensive? I looked it up on Google.
Mm-hmm.
What does the term negroid mean? Because I've heard of anthropologists refer to it years ago.
Negroid is a person of the negroid race. You got the Caucasoid. Mm-hmm. You've got the Mongoloid, mm-hmm. or Occidental. Asians. Basically, if you go back to Ham, Seth, and Japheth. Mm-hmm. Japheth. It reminds me of Sylvester. No, man, this show, what they put in my Coke this week? No, now I want to just talk about Sylvester. Yeah. Warner Brother cartoons, Sylvester's little, you ever see his little son?
Yes.
You remember? That was the funny one.
Oh, yeah.
Father.
Yes.
Father, I'm so ashamed you got beaten by a mouse.
And all those were the voice of Mel Blanc.
I know, the guy was so good, doing a kangaroo. He was getting beat up by the kangaroo, and all his son ever saw was this mouse every time he saw him, and the kangaroo just beating him to death. Yeah. Those were so good. Yeah. They don't have that one anymore. All right. Never mind. Anyway, so yeah, negroid is just a classification of the race, of the black race. Okay. The African race, the black race is negroid.
Okay, now when we call people African, that is far more ambiguous because that takes in the North Africans, which are more kind of from the Middle East.
Well, yeah, it'd be like somebody from American. That's a nationality. That's not a racial classification.
Well, yeah. Now,
no, sir, if you go to Europe and you say, I'm an American, that does not classify you, your phylum.
And even that's a problem, and it's the reason why we call gringos from Latin America because, hey, no, we're from South America. We're an American. We're from the Americas. A U.S. citizen.
Yeah, you're from the Americas, but not America. When somebody says they're from America, it's America, United States. If you're from south of the border, you're from where? Mexico.
This is the problem where terms change over time within certain sects. And then they try to impose that on the broader.
Well, sure. Population. I mean, I know where you're headed, what you're getting at. Mm-hmm. But I mean, for our audience sake, you can't do that. And that's what I think you're trying to get at. That's where we're really trying to head.
Yeah.
People are taking things to a place where they should never go. Mm. They should never have gone there.
Well, in the United States, the term American is synonymous with our nation.
Right. Exactly.
Right. But I'm saying you go to Peru and you say, well, I'm American. Oh, good. So am I.
No.
I'm telling you, that's how that whole gringo thing started.
No, that is not the truth, though. If you go to Peru and you say American, they know you're from the United States of America.
Yeah, I'm just saying some people have taken offense to that in Latin America because we're usurping the identity of North and South America.
Nobody has said, because when you're from Peru, I'm from Peru. If you're from Mexico, I'm from Mexico. I'm from Brazil.
I understand that.
They are proud of
That's
their
nationality, not their ethnicity.
Well, nobody's gonna, when they come from America, where are you from? I'm from Africa and America. Nobody says that.
I'm just saying, this is the problem where terms
This is when it gets good,
time.
when we get into these discussions.
When terms change over time. I think that the term negroid was intended to be much more specific and accurate of that ethnicity.
It's about a race, right? An ethnicity. That's what negroid is, of course.
Yeah.
But, and that's when now.
But Google said that's a deeply offensive term.
Well, Google doesn't know their butt from a hole in the ground.
And you told me before the show, the reason why it's offensive is
anything with nig in it.
At the beginning.
Yeah. Is going to offend today. Mm-hmm. It's because that's what they've done. Mm-hmm. Anything, honestly, almost anything with the term homo in it is going to be offensive. Mm-hmm. Okay. There's certain terms you just can't, it's getting to the point you can almost, there's so many. In fact, I wish I could remember. There was something last night my wife and I were listening to that is just ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Somebody got fired for using a certain term and it made no sense of why they would have lost their job.
I heard a guy got fired for saying all lives matter.
Well, but getting back to this issue, no, I mean, when, like if I go to Africa, okay, and when I remember going to Kenya, where are you from? America. America. I go to Kenya, I say I'm America. Oh, this is really funny. So there's this long line trying to get through customs. Okay. The guy looks back, sees me, the customs guy, and said, where are you from? I said, America. Oh, America. Oh, come on through. They actually, I don't have to stand in line.
Yeah.
Cause I'm Black American.
What?
Okay. And I've got all these people with me, And so then I remember being in South Africa, and this was during apartheid. It's 1984, middle of apartheid, still going on. So I'm at these people's house, and so they wanted to go to the movies in Johannesburg. Okay, Johannesburg is a city that the only time black people are allowed there, black or colored people are allowed during the day to work. Yeah, and at night they go to their townships.
Yeah,
Soweto. There were a few others. But anyway, so my friends wanted to go to the movies. I said, let's go to the movies. I said, I don't want to cause a scene. I don't want to be a big issue. Well, let's call. So he calls up. Hello, we've got a bloke here from America wants to come to the theater tonight. Is it okay if he comes? Well, what's the problem? But he's black.
Black.
Yeah, he's black. Oh, but he's American. Yes, he's American. He said, well, yes. That should be no problem. Just, if he's worried, have him bring his passport. Yeah. But they didn't say he's from North America. They didn't say from the United States of America. They said he's from America. Boom. That's all it took. It was my universal get out of jail free card in America. In fact, even my English, I remember, I went to these other friends down there. We parked their car and they went inside to where they lived in an apartment complex. And so I said, I forgot something in the car. I ran back and I heard this guy yelling at me. He's walking his dog and he's yelling something in Afrikaans. And I knew what it was, and he thought, I was a regular, African or South African. And so instead of yelling back, I ran all the way over to him and I looked at him and said, what did you say? He said, oh, a Yank are you? Yeah. I mean, his whole, everything changed, everything changed. Oh, good to meet you. Yes. All of a sudden, I wasn't black anymore. I mean, it was like I changed colors right there in an instant,
so
because I was American.
Okay. Now there's another trump card that Larry Holmes used, the great heavyweight boxer.
The green card.
Yeah. What was that one?
Oh yeah. He said, cause they got him, for boxing in South Africa. Yeah. There was this big arena. I can't remember the name of the place. It was a casino. Yeah. It was a special place.
Big resort kind of thing.
Big resort, like Las Vegas kind of. But it was in South Africa or one of those. Anyway, and so they asked him, why are you going down there? Why would you do this with apartheid and everything going down there, being black? And he said, because if you're black and you got money, you ain't black.
There you go.
Yeah, that was his famous line. It's in Sports Illustrated, but it's true. I mean, it was true. It's true. In fact, here's another one. So while I'm there at these friends' house, we're watching TV, and they had a big horse race like the Kentucky Derby. And you know how at the Kentucky Derby, they have this fashion.
Oh, the hats. Yes.
Yeah. The women with the hat and the guys all decked out. And well, they had, a contest. Mm-hmm. And so they had the 3 top best dressed people. And
in other words, most outrageous.
Well, yeah, kind of. So the runner-up couple was a black couple.
Oh, yeah.
And when I say black, they were the color of that bag right there. They weren't coloreds, as they call it, the mixed race. I mean, these were black Africans. Dr. Umbopo Badumbu or something, and his wife and the Mrs. And so my friends are in the kitchen. Hey, come out here. I said, what? I said, what is this? What's this about? And what's what? Right there, you got a black couple at the horse race, the biggest horse race in South Africa, and they're black. Yeah. So, well, apartheid, I'm saying apartheid. Black people can't be in town, and there's oh no, that's Dr. So. And he lives in the most, the richest part of town, a gated community up in with all these he's a millionaire and all this. So what? Oh yeah. He lives with all of these doctors, lawyers, and all these, Indian chiefs, and Larry Holmes again. They say if you're black and you're rich, you ain't black.
Yeah.
So it just showed me right there that, again, it's not about color. It's about class. It's about class. And
class.
status.
Remember the Democrat majority leader in the Senate talking about
which
how
one?
Obama. Well,
Harry Reid.
Talking about Harry Obama because he's well spoken. He's not black. He doesn't. Of course, Obama's half white, but they don't want to talk about that. Yeah. Well, anyway.
Which reminds me, it's one that we can transition into this. James Carville.
Oh yeah.
Did you hear about his comment?
No. Which one? It's Carville. What do you expect?
Yeah, it was his comment on Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, he called her poor white trash.
What? Oh.
Poor white trash. And he just doubled down on it. I mean, I can't believe
she's a very wealthy woman.
Well, I understand, but he says she ain't nothing but poor white trash. And I'm thinking, can you imagine if any Republican were on and it was on one of the, typical alphabet networks.
Yeah.
If any Republican went on and came out and called some member of Congress, a Democrat, poor white trash.
Or poor black trash.
Well, yeah.
No, if there's white trash, there's black trash.
I understand, but I'm just saying, let's just say right now we're going to stick with the white trash. If that happened, there would be an outcry.
Of course. There should be.
Yeah. Not a word, not a peep.
Right.
Whoever the host was, I think it was John Todd or Chuck Todd. Todd. Or as Rush Limbaugh used to call him, F. Chuck Todd. Nothing.
Right.
James Carville.
Right.
And, unbelievable.
Carville's the same guy, I think, that when, Paula, what's her name?
Abdul?
No.
No, I just messed with
was accusing
Paula Jones.
Yeah, was accusing Bill Clinton of groping her. And he said, all I can say is you drag a $20 bill through a trailer park. Yeah, this is the kind of thing you get, and, call it trailer park trash.
This is the state of the Democrat Party today.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I believe it's been the state of the Democrat Party a long time. I mean, it's been that way.
Oh, they've always been racist.
Yeah. Or not it's not a race thing. I think it's an elitist thing that the Democrats have had.
Yeah.
It's funny how they have switched. People used to accuse a lot of Democrats have the idea that the Democrat Party is the party of the people, whereas the Republicans are considered this snobbish, highbrow
Yeah,
party.
blue bloods.
Blue bloods. And it's really not. I mean, it's been people with money. But if you go back and study the history of the formation of the Republican Party, the Republican Party was founded for one reason, and that was the abolition of slavery.
Yeah. Yeah, the Whig Party wasn't cutting it.
Trust me, the original platform of the Republican Party was to abolish slavery.
Yeah.
End of story. Now, the Democrats have tried to erase that from everyone's minds, but that's not the truth. The Republican Party was founded for that reason. And so that's why you notice Lincoln ended it, because he realized this is why I am here.
Yeah.
This is why I'm here. And this was the will of the people. It was coming. He saw it coming. The dilemma was, how do you, he had the same dilemma everybody did. Is there a way we can do this without tearing the nation apart, without costing thousands of lives? You know, a lot of people want to say, well, why didn't you just do it? Why didn't you blah, blah, blah? It's easy for you to say because you're not the one that has to decide whose children you're going to send off to war. It's like the Ukrainian thing. A lot of people on Facebook and Twitter that I deal with are ready to say, oh, we just need to go and get involved and go get Russia, get them out of Ukraine. Seriously? You know, it's not your sons and daughters, a lot of them. The people in Washington, do you think Biden's kids are going to go fight and die? Do you think...
Oh, Joe says, Joe will say that Beau Biden died in Ukraine. Remember, they said he died in the Iraqi war.
Right.
Afghanistan.
But any of these guys, they're just lying through their teeth.
Of course
they're not going to send their kids. Yeah. And if they are, they're going to be officers who are going to be back. They're not going to be on the front line.
Of course.
They're not going to be flying the fighter jets going right over, you know, putting themselves at risk to be shot down over Moscow and Kiev and all these places. So Abraham Lincoln was wise, trying his best to talk sense into the Southerners, the Confederates, that we don't need to do this, but we cannot continue to have this divided nation.
Well, but the chronology of it was that before Abe Lincoln was even sworn in, the Southern 13 states seceded. Not all at the same time, but they did. And the war, the shooting war started over the federal naval bases, for instance, Fort Sumner and Charleston Bay. And it was that the South wanted to take over all these federal installations. And the North said, no, that's our stuff.
Yeah, in preparation, because And it had happened politically before with the various bills that were being enacted. For example, I don't know if we've talked about the 3/5 clause of the Constitution. Okay. The South, this is something that black people in particular try to use, and Democrats love to throw this one out there, that the Constitution has the 3/5 clause in it before the amendments. And the 3/5 clause basically said that slaves were to be counted as 3/5 of a person.
Yeah, if they were owned by somebody.
Right. Slaves were counted 3/5 of a person. And so people think, oh, they only counted us as 3. They didn't even count us as human. But see, that wasn't the purpose. It's because the Republicans or the Northern Democrats and Republicans said, well, if you're going to count your slaves as property, not as humans, if you're only going to count them as 3/5 and you're counting them as chattel, which is property, livestock, essentially, then we're going to count, because that's how the South wanted to do it. They wanted to count every slave as a person
for representation.
When it came to sending people to Congress and Senate so they could have the numbers. But at the same time, they didn't want to give those same people, that same population, the right to vote. They didn't want to give them any rights. So the Northerners said, well, that's not right. So if you're going to do that, we're going to count our cows and our sheep. And they had a lot more cattle, all those dairy cows and other cattle that they had in the North. We're going to count those for representation too. So they said, oh, whoa, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. So they struck a compromise and said, all right, if that's the case, then we will only allow you to count your slaves as 3/5 of a person for representation. And that's all that
And that
meant.
was 86 years earlier at the Constitutional Convention.
Right.
That they came up with that compromise. And that was just one of many compromises.
Right, exactly.
Now, here's the other thing. Maryland and Kentucky never seceded, yet they said, no, we're slave-owning states. We support slave rights. But they stayed with the North.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. Here's the other. We didn't really have much of a standing army in those days. The states had to commit troops. And it was within the state's militia to send. I know because Minnesota's where I grew up, so proud that they were the first.
Yeah, can you imagine that? See see, all of these are amazing that the Yankee troops were volunteer. I mean, the states voluntarily sent these to fight for the freedom of slaves in the South.
Yeah.
Over this. They didn't have to do it. I mean, there's so much inaccuracy. There's so much that people don't know about the real history of how all of this went down. They just want to, this is what infuriates me about the 1619 Project, for example, about about any of the history of slavery and emancipation. Everyone keeps wanting to talk about the Emancipation Proclamation didn't do anything, and this and this and this, and we want to make Juneteenth celebrated instead of the 4th of July instead of Independence Day and so forth. Juneteenth is BS. I'm going to say it right now. Juneteenth is BS. Juneteenth was the day when the word got to Galveston, Texas, that slaves were free. It's just, that's when those people found out. The people in Oklahoma didn't find out till, what was it, December? It was November or December, when the word finally got here to Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma, it was when the Osage tribe signed the new Reconstruction Treaty on the third Monday in January, the 21st of 67.
67, okay.
So it was still slaves were owned by Indians.
Right.
A year and a half later after the Civil War.
Oh, so it was 67. I thought it was still 65.
No, it was actually.
Oh, that's right, because Oklahoma was not a state yet.
Right,
that's right.
Territory.
That's right. You're still a territory. That's right.
Yeah.
Because see, the actual independence came at the ratification of the 13th Amendment, which was December 13th of 1865.
Correct. Yeah, they moved fast on that one.
Right. That's when, and that was signed by all the states. Okay. Yeah. That was ratified by all the states.
Yeah. And then shortly after is the 14th Amendment.
That was I think, about 2 years later.
And that imposed the limitations of government at the federal level onto the states. And we ceased to really be a commonwealth and became more, we quit saying the United States are and started saying the United States is.
Boy, there's so much we can get into right now because the 14th Amendment, okay? Mm-hmm. The 14th Amendment is this like, potpourri bag that people have created. 14th Amendment was written for one purpose, and that was slaves.
Yeah.
Okay? The former slaves.
Yeah.
That's all it was written for. It does not include abortion rights.
Yeah, it went way further.
It did not include immigration rights. It did not include homosexual rights. Everybody and their mama and grandma now wants to use, anytime anything comes up, they want to use the 14th Amendment. Oh, but the 14th Amendment, the 14th Amendment. But that is not. It was specifically pertaining to the slaves, giving the rights, all of the rights that were due of all others that are born in the United States of America to the slaves and their descendants. That's all that the 14th Amendment was.
And a good example to drive that consistency home, the 14th Amendment going further than intended. Even though our federal government said that, Congress shall make no law restricting free exercise or establishing a national religion. The states, however, did. In fact, Maryland, Connecticut, they all had state-run seminaries. And it was follow-up legislation and court cases in the 1870s and 80s that finally forced the states to quit subsidizing religion. So there were plenty of things states were doing that we said, no, federal government, you're not going to do. We were to be a very limited federal entity, much like a commonwealth. In fact, I'm looking up right now, when the Soviet Union dissolved, they set up the Commonwealth of Independent States. And do you know that Ukraine is still a member of the Commonwealth of Independent States, as well as all the Baltic states, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, so what that tells you is a commonwealth is a very limited treaty. And we were a commonwealth or a confederacy back before 1787 Constitutional Convention. And it's very limited and sometimes unworkable, especially when your nation is under attack. And when you're meeting a common opponent, you've got to have the ability
come together.
And that's why, for instance, we started funding a standing federal army after the Civil War. So all these things. And so states' rights greatly were diminished in the 14th and then I'll say the 16th and 17th because we started a national income tax. You know how our federal government was funded before then? The states were assessed a tax, and they were to collect it from their people. And what are you going to do if a state doesn't? And then the 17th, more important, direct election of our state Senate, our U.S. senators. Before that, the legislature got to send delegates to the Senate, and they could recall them. So anyway, how many rabbit trails should we go on?
Yeah, your civics lesson for the day. But no, I mean, this is very important stuff in light of today because the federal government is encroaching more and more and more. They're taking more and more power, and we're turning back into an imperial power. I mean, imperialism is really, we talk about Yankee imperialism throughout the world. It starts right here. It's imperialism from D.C., which is so funny because D.C. is just this district in a small district in America, which is somehow tried to usurp power from, excuse me, my coffee coke, usurp the power from the states. And it's taking more and more power and authority over the states, our governments, and each individual. And I want to speak to Christians. I think we've talked about this before. Okay. What is it? Is it 1 Timothy 2?
Talks about praying for all, your leaders and all in authority.
Right. Okay. See, I think we've got it backwards. Okay. It says pray for the king.
Yes, it does, specifically.
The king.
Yeah, King James language says pray for the king.
Right. We don't have a king. Okay?
No.
We don't have a king.
Not as a monarch.
Right. And I think people in America, what we don't understand is America is upside down. See, under a monarchy, and it's like a triangle like this, or a pyramid, okay? The king, his subjects, and then on down and down and down and down, you know. Well, America is this way.
Yeah.
It's the people, our representatives, their representatives, and it ends up down here with the president, okay, who's the last guy, and then he goes out and he represents us. Yep. That's the role of the president. We have too many Christians that have flipped it back around and want us to yield to the guy at the bottom who is elected by us up here. We are different from the rest of the world.
Yep.
We are the first nation on earth on such a broad scale to have a government like we have it, to where the people rule, come together, and we choose a leader to rule us, or to serve us. Actually, rule is the wrong word, to serve us. Now, as far as what made me think of this was the government funding the military, the fire. Okay. The only taxes that should be levied that Washington should be concerned about. Okay, the only taxes, in my opinion, I think you agree with this, the only federal taxes that the government should be collecting should be for an army or Navy, Air Force, whatever, a military to protect. It's for our protection, okay? That's the only federal taxes I believe we should be paying. After that, the state should be responsible for collecting the taxes to fix our roads, the state highways, bridges, etc. Then it goes down to the city. I wish our city here in Tulsa would fix Memorial right out here that's got these potholes and all the other mess that we've got.
Yeah.
But see, I remember Senator Inhofe. Something that he was discussing earmarks.
Yep.
Why we have earmarks. At that time, this was like in the early 2000s when I heard this speech. It just totally changed my mind.
Yep.
But the fact that we send $1 to Washington, of that dollar, we at that time were getting 60 cents back on the dollar, 50 somethings to 60 cents back. And the rest of our money was going to some other peeve that Bill Clinton or whoever was up there had, okay? George Bush, I guess, in the early 2000s. Maybe it was in the 90s when I saw it. Anyway, what the earmarks are is, and it's not a perfect system either, okay? But the earmarks are when our senators, our congresspeople, specifically designate a certain amount of that dollar to come back to Oklahoma. Yeah. Okay. So we were able to get back 95 cents. I think he got up to 95 cents on the dollar to come back for our roads, our bridges. Now, what we did with it, I don't know. That's the other side of it. But at least that amount was coming back to us.
I've got a good example of people can understand, but I want to jump back to what you said earlier because I didn't get a chance to respond. Rishi Sunak is the prime minister now of England. When he was selected.
What's his name?
Rishi Sunak.
Okay.
Yeah, yes. A good Oxford name, right?
Yeah.
So, when he was selected by his peers to be prime minister, he had to follow their constitution and go to the king and ask permission to set up a government. So that's exactly goes to your point. Whereas in our nation, they come to the people and say, choose amongst this list which one of us gets to set up a government. Right. So it's the people here do the job that in England the king does. Now, God help King Charles if he ever says, no, I'm not going to let you set up a government. You know what? King Charles tarred and feathered to start. Okay. So, but I want to get to your point about the earmarks. We have specific statutes in our legislature to state a minimum teacher pay in Oklahoma. And that's an earmark. The reason why is because otherwise, if they gave money to all these school districts and just hope that you're going to pay Susie's 4th grade teacher a decent income, let me tell you, teachers will never get paid in Oklahoma what they're worth. Why? Because the administrators, superintendents, school boards need them to be so poor that they will go to the Capitol. Because nobody cares when the superintendent goes to the Capitol.
Right.
But by God, when Susie's 4th grade teacher says, hey, I can't afford this or that, right, they're going to say, by God, we're going to come up with the money for Susie's 4th grade
That's
teacher.
another discussion.
But that's an earmark.
No, I understand. I just don't want to get...
Right.
I just want to make
That's
sure.
an example of where earmarks, because otherwise you have to give that agency so much money that they no longer have excuse not to fix the pothole. But you're going to have to say, hey, look, you got to live within your means. We all do. And by the way, this money, these things are going to get fixed out of that. And we're even setting aside the money where we will arrest you if you misappropriate it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll tell you where I see the fear and I see the problem in our government. And that is the fear of, well, basically oligarchs and, what did they use? Interest groups.
Yeah.
Have come in alongside and are now kind of ruling our country. Let's say George Soros, the, Petersons, is there Petersons? No, what is the oh my goodness, the owners of Progressive Insurance.
Oh yeah, I forget.
I can't.
Yeah,
I don't remember the names right now, but
there's a bunch of them.
These
just about every high tech.
The Google people, yeah. Facebook, formerly Twitter. These people have so much money, they lean a certain way. It has swung the balance of power.
Yeah,
and their money has tempted and swayed our politicians to the point it has driven our nation in a certain direction.
Yeah.
Okay. And either way, whether it's left or right, I wouldn't want it. Okay. Back in the 50s and 60s, it was swung too far to the right. Okay. That's why I was a hippie and a radical in the 60s in early 70s going the other way. Now we have gone way too far to the left.
Yeah.
We have somehow, and I know it's hard to do, and whether it'll happen or not, I don't know. But somehow, I mean, there is hope. You have Elon Musk and different people waking up slowly to the fact that, wait a minute, something's out of balance here. We're leaning too far one way, and we're leaning to insanity. I mean, some of this stuff is just truly insane.
Yeah,
what
and
we're saying.
I want to say sometimes it's not necessarily some wealthy mogul's own money. There's a cryptocurrency called FTX that was started by Sam Bankman-Fried, where he took the average investor's money, and the whole thing was set up as a shell game, so he had a back door, and much of our election spending by special interest groups came from stealing from that cryptocurrency.
Yeah, he was a fraud. He was a fraud. Right.
And so I actually have more respect for people who actually earn their money lawfully and then are spending it, Progressive, for instance, than I do for somebody like Sam Bankman-Fried, who actually swindled yours and mine. And, well, I didn't invest in cryptocurrency, but those who did. And this is a problem. Now, cryptocurrency, which is a way to get around a lot of Big Brother stuff, now will necessarily come under regulation. All cryptocurrency will, because of what he did.
And it should. I mean, because of what he did. But, and not only that, same with, social media in general. It's going to come under a more watchful eye.
Yeah.
But the good news is that you have people like Elon Musk. You will have others crop up. There's always, the good news is there's always some entrepreneurial spirit and someone new that's going to find a market, a niche that they don't see. I'm going to get you. My goal is not to be the next. My goal is to be the bigger than, right?
Yeah.
And so I will make you forget Google. Right now, I don't know if you've heard of this new, it's GP, what is it called? Microsoft has come up with this new search engine,
Chat GPD or something like that.
Chat GP, GP something. And so it's the rage right now. I don't
GPT.
GPT?
Yeah.
Okay. And now the question is Google going to match it, beat it, whatever? Okay. And, but it's supposed to offer a whole new experience in the internet.
Yeah. I got to tell you something. One of the top IT entrepreneurs in Tulsa and really all Oklahoma, co-founder of Stonebridge Technologies. I was at his house this week doing some things. We were just shooting the breezy, and he loves to come out and talk on this. And he talked about Microsoft's investment in Chat GPT. And he says, I was getting ready to hire 2 people to write software code. He said, we decided on the board we're hiring 1, and then we're going to use Chat GPT as a software engineer and have it write the code.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God, this thing's taken over a very high-tech position with the company. And it's just amazing. I mean, you just got to watch it in action to totally, because it's so intuitive.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago, Elon Musk on Twitter, he listed, I think there were 4 new technologies coming out that were supposed to be the future of everything.
Yeah.
And the Chat GPT was
right.
one of them.
And these are what's called artificial intelligence, or AI. Generally, that's a broad term. And it's coming in many forms. Chat GPT is one of them.
Right.
Yeah.
But he named them all. And I'd never even heard of them. And then all of a sudden, it's funny because 2 weeks ago he named them. And this last week on Fox Business, that's all I heard. So it's interesting what's going on. By the way, I encourage you, listen to or watch every morning, first thing, watch Fox Business. I mean, if you get a chance, between 5 and 8.
Yeah.
You have Maria Bartiromo, her show. I mean, that one, and then Varney right after. As much of those as you can. I'm sure you got to get to work at somewhere, but as much as you can. There's so much stuff to learn on there, and it is the most conservative television you're going to see during the day. Those 5 hours or 6 hours, if you can watch all of it, but any part of that will be the most conservative and informative and helpful, especially, and also help you make some money hours of the day, every day. So, just a tip there as well. So, hey, listen, let's get to some little news here. Hunter has made the GOP's job easier. I don't know if you heard, but, Hunter's lawyers, basically the lawyers came out and wanted to, attack the laptop. Okay. Cause if you remember at first, the whole story was, this isn't the laptop. It's bogus, et cetera, this is a made up story, et cetera. Now they changed, their attack to, they want to bar the information from getting out, that they want the laptop. it's his property. So now they want it returned, and they want to go after the shop owner, the pawn shop owner that has the laptop and go after him for releasing the contents because it was privileged information. So, of course, that then backfired on them because, wait a minute, aren't you the same people that told us that it's not his laptop?
It's Russian disinformation.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, 50 of our top intelligence leaders signed a letter at the time it came down. It said, this is all the earmarkings of Russian disinformation.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, they have now confirmed the authenticity of Hunter's laptop, just making the case that this and everything on it is legit.
Yeah.
By suing this owner of the of the pawn shop.
Yeah.
And so that's part of it. And so now they're wanting to go after the pawn shop owner and anybody that has the information. They're trying to now stop the information from going out and trying to fight it in that way. So it's created a whole new can of worms for them.
G. Gordon Liddy once said, a special prosecutor, special investigator is often picked by the White House for one of two reasons. One, because they don't trust the FBI, right? They want to make sure that the truth gets out. That's one potential reason. The other is to make sure the truth never gets out.
Yeah.
That they pick the person they want. Now here's the problem with the Hunter laptop. This shows us the corruption of the FBI. The FBI got that laptop a year before it was given to Giuliani and his associates. A year before. And nothing happened. It is the Rosetta Stone of the worst corruption we've had.
Well, when they asked the FBI agent who was responsible for this about the laptop, he said he didn't know where it is. He had he's like, I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
But you don't know where it is? What do you mean you don't know where it is? I don't have no idea what happened to it.
Yeah.
Like it just disappeared, Oh, here's the new strategy. So, there's reports of a Democratic team that is forming around Hunter to attack potential witnesses and adopt a scorched earth approach, in the litigation. So what they're going to do now, they're going to attack any person involved in the laptop from testifying to its validity or the information that's contained on it. So that's the strategy now. So they're threatened. Now they're going to threaten them.
Well,
probably. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if mob style threaten them with physical harm, death, or whatever.
And this is why WikiLeaks was created. Because when big governments, high powers, want to suppress the truth from ever coming out, we've got WikiLeaks. And that's why you go, and I don't mean to go around.
And what did they do? They silenced Julian Assange.
Absolutely.
Didn't they?
He's been silenced for years. And guys like Edward Snowden. This is our problem. We have, you just look at Jeffrey Epstein's whole case. What came out of it? Did we ever find out who's on the Johns list? No. The federal court sealed that information because of the names on it. I'm just putting it out there.
No, I'm with you.
We have got to have a repository for this kind of information so that it takes the danger off of those people who are the select few that do have it.
That is so weird too, because, you can't find out who was on that list, and, you can't find out who leaked the Supreme Court decision back in July.
Yeah.
Somehow they don't know. Nobody knows. But you can, find out that Donald Trump was on one of those flights from Florida back to New Jersey one time.
Yeah.
He caught a ride.
Okay.
I mean, that's all he did. He caught a ride from Florida to New Jersey on one of, what's his name's flights. You know, I mean, that's what's so crazy about it.
Yeah.
It shows you who is running this country. It's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary stuff.
Let me put a bombshell out there. You're just going to drop that.
Oh,
My speculation.
lay it out there.
Here's who leaked the Dobbs decision, Supreme Court. John Roberts himself.
I believe it.
John Roberts is so obsessed with, but how does this make the court look? He's been the, compromiser to a fault. Truth has become the victim of John Roberts' courts.
Yeah, he is the biggest mistake that George W. Bush made.
Yeah. And here's the lack of wisdom in this man. The very things he thinks will make the court survive are the cause of its undoing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's trying to make everybody happy. And truth doesn't care who's happy. Truth just is truth.
Truth wants to be true.
Yeah.
Right?
And so I thought that from the beginning, didn't say a whole lot on it, but I said, if they don't find out who did it, then I'll know John Roberts did it.
Yeah. No, I believe it. I believe it's him. Yeah, because it's just, I don't know. But our nation, hey, the balloon.
Yeah.
The Chinese balloon.
I found out why they finally shot it down. After it had already come across the United States and was out over the Atlantic, Biden found out it might be heading for Ukraine.
Yes, that was.
Thank you very much, folks.
Babylon B.
No, I came up with that.
Well, I saw it on Babylon
Well,
B.
see, I put it on the internet. And that's what happened.
They got it from you.
That's right.
No, listen, it was easy to shoot it down once it's gathered all the information it needed, send it to China, and then shoot it down. Of course, it's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. They didn't want to endanger anyone on the ground.
They just announced yesterday they shot
it.
Some other.
Well, something, we don't know what it is. And this thing is small. I mean, it was a lot smaller. It was the size of this room. I mean, I don't know if it's like cubic like this room, but it was, I think they said it's about the size of a car or whatever. It wasn't as big as that other thing, but they shot it over the Aleutians, way out in the north.
Which becomes a very bad example the federal military has set for our hunters of our nation. Yeah. Because if you and I are out deer hunting and we see something brown running through the brush and we shoot at it, we are guilty if it's not a legally gotten deer, if we're deer hunting.
Well, if you shoot something brown running through the woods.
If it's somebody's cow.
It could be a person.
Yeah, it could be a person. They don't know what this is. They don't know where it came from, who's controlling it, if anybody, who owns it. They don't even know to call it a balloon. They don't.
Yeah.
But it's got to come down now.
Yeah.
And if innocent lives are destroyed, so be it. Because politics say we got to shoot it down over Alaska.
Well, yeah, but it never reached Alaska. And they knew the other one was headed towards us before it reached Alaska. They knew about it before it reached Canada.
Yeah.
When it was still out over the Pacific or the, what do you call that? The Bering Strait.
Yeah. The Aleutian Islands.
Yeah.
Area.
That's when it should have. That's when it should have been shot down. Hey, by the way, I want to take a quick moment to do a quick plug for Integris Men's Clinic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Things are going well. The prices have come down a little bit.
And this is the same clinic.
Anyway. It was Low T Center was before, but it's Integris now. So, man, you can go get a free checkup to get your levels tested and everything. And
free?
See, well, the original checkup is always free.
I did not know that.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, they get your levels and everything, see what you might need or not, and then after once you join, then you can go, weekly every couple of weeks. But I get this new thing. It's a lipo beta lipo gene or something. I can't remember the name of the, but it has all these different vitamins and minerals. I get that every other week. You can get it every week, but I get it usually every other week. But it really is good. It really does help. Helps the energy levels. So, but those are the two, and you can get both of those. It's like about $50 for both.
Yeah.
With the one and the other.
Some people, and I'm saying this generally, not about you, but some people, as they get older, have a harder time absorbing certain nutrients, certain vitamins, certain minerals to that. And to go through the stomach and ingestion and all that, sometimes it's better to get a shot.
Yeah.
Or sublingual, or there's plenty of ways. But I think that's kind of what their theory is on here, is if we inject it, much like we do these hormones, your body will absorb it.
Yeah, and here's the interesting thing. Integris, though, they're wanting to expand it to male and female clinic. Mm-hmm. So eventually, right now they can't, it's too small to handle both. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty busy already, but if you keep an ear out, they'll also be having women.
Oh yeah,
women's clinic, and which will be good. And because women have different needs from men,
Oh, listen, after menopause, a woman's estrogen production takes a hit. Any woman who's had a radical hysterectomy, oh my God, the hell those women have to go through from things like that. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, it can be. Fact is, Eddie, the work I've done in mental health advocacy in that. A lot of these situations that appear to be pretty significant are actually better treated by getting a woman's hormones in order. I'll say for myself, I thought I was dealing with low grade depression and depressive disorder. And my doctor just said, let's check your testosterone level. Bam, you're low.
Yeah.
We'll treat it that way. And it took care of it.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, if they're trying to put you on psychotropic meds, be sure that you've checked this off.
Yeah. As men have your testosterone checked, women have your estrogen checked, and so forth. That's true. By the way, the new Integris Men's Clinic is down on South Memorial. It's behind Hideaway Pizza. So there's the Hideaway Pizza and Chick-fil-A. But it's right behind the Hideaway Pizza, so it's down there in Integris. So
okay, and across the street is Costco. To get people
Costco's up the street. Just behind Hideaway Pizza.
See, I don't know where Hideaway is. I know where Costco is.
Well, okay. The people will know because
Spirit Bank is in the area.
The arena.
The arena used to be,
Spirit Bank is
it used to be Spirit Bank Arena. Yeah. It's now what?
Hey, Dave.
I'm sorry. If
you see me in a bear fight, help the bear.
Oh, okay.
Hey, moving right along.
Yes.
The Utah governor has given a warning out to the Californians fleeing their state for tax purposes, of course, crime and drugs and everything else infesting that state. His word to Californians is stay in California. Yeah, the Republican governor suggested Friday that California residents who are looking to join the recent population exodus into the state or states like Utah, says we're having the opposite problem of a census decline. California in the last year has lost over 300,000 residents. And so he's saying our biggest problems are more growth related rather than the other. He said we'd love for those people to stay in California instead of coming to us as refugees from California. So we're trying to figure it out. He explained that the biggest problem the state faces in terms of growth are housing and water. That's a big problem right now from Colorado west is a water problem. I don't think Colorado is as bad because they're right where the runoff is from the Rockies.
Source, yeah.
But Arizona, Utah, Nevada, and California are he said, we're not working to attract more people. We're doing just fine. that way. Utah was named the best state to start a business, with Texas and Florida number 2 and 3 respectively. So we feel really great about that balance, and we're where we are right now. Governor Murphy joked, "We'll take some of your folks in New Jersey," the New Jersey governor. Yeah, right. Nobody wants to go to New Jersey. It's about as bad as New York. But, it's interesting. You've got Texas and Florida, and you know what they have in common.
Oh, yeah, they've moved more conservative in their government.
Well, that, and there's no state income tax.
Oh, that's right.
No state income tax. That's
yeah,
another thing.
and I think in Texas, I don't think they even have sales tax on.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, on groceries. There's no grocery tax. You do have sales tax on everything else.
Clothing?
But yeah.
Okay.
It's just groceries. So
there's
no grocery tax. In fact, I remember Mike Mazie, when he was state senator, Mike Mazie, he was pushing for no grocery tax.
Right.
And for some reason, nobody backed
when
him.
John Sullivan was my state representative, he later went to Congress. I saw that was one of his T-shirts. He was making that a cause. End grocery tax. Governor Stitt this year is making it a priority to push for it.
Well, we need to support that. For you listeners from Oklahoma, please contact your state rep and tell them you want to support Governor Stitt's no grocery tax. You want to support that because that is, it's a very, very great boost to our economy. Yeah. And listen, trust me, you'll get it back. We'll get it back. Okay. Yeah. We will get it back. And, in Tulsa, for example, we've got enough with our city. Our city sales tax combined with the state tax, et cetera, is among the highest in the country. What are we at, 11 something?
We're well, no, our regular sales tax is close to 9%.
I'm talking about, but when you factor everything in, it's,
I don't know.
So we're not over 10%?
Our sales tax is 8.517.
Right, but I seem to remember us breaking the 10 points when you put it all.
Well, on things like your phone bill, they actually have a federal tax on top of the state and local, so that is like 10 or 11.
It reminds me of a Seinfeld episode where, do you know Putty? Do you remember the character? He had one of Elaine's boyfriends.
Yeah, okay.
And he was going through all of the charges, and he was going real fast, something fee, something charge, that is charging a customary overcharge charge. And he just ran out there. Customary overcharge charge, which, somewhere in there's an overcharge charge, on top of your fees and so forth.
By the way, on the whole issue of Californians moving to these other states, probably the best mini-series to watch it's on YouTube. It's a 6-part series called Californians Move to Texas.
That's the name of the series?
Produced by Babylon Bee. And it is awesome.
It's on the Babylon Bee site?
Well, it's on their YouTube site.
Okay.
It's just Californians Move to Texas.
Okay.
Episode 6 is the finale, and it's already released. I looked it up here. It goes to show you can take somebody out of California. The tougher job is taking California out of that person.
Yeah, you say you can take a boy out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the boy. Yeah,
because they're still hooked on the same ideas that made a disaster of their state.
See, that's the thing that troubles me. That's what worries me about Texas, Florida, these states that these refugees from the liberal states, they somehow think that they can take their same liberal, progressive ideas with them, move to a new state, elect people that think the same way that the people that they left, and it comes out differently.
Right.
And then they ruin another state.
Yeah. I have new neighbors moved in. I won't say who, but everybody in my neighborhood will figure out. They bought the old meth house. Okay.
The old meth house.
Meth house, yes. Okay. Eventually, it was, confiscated and, then sold to somebody flipping a house, and they went through and just did all this stuff. And these new folks moved in from California, and I'm greeting them and I'm telling them, and I said, this used to be a meth house. And I'm telling them, and they're getting incensed. We should have been notified, we should. And I said, I don't believe there's any law that says that, and then I started telling them about different things, and they're upset that the trash collection, system is different, and why aren't people being cited for throwing unauthorized things in the recycles, and all that, like, they just don't pick it up, and they're just want all this stuff, and they're just reciting all of this California, oppression that they want instituted. I'm like, my God, you're living 2 houses down from me. Now you know who I'm talking about. But this is the problem, and I'm seeing in my own neighborhood. Because I'm like, hey, so what? People crapped in the backyard. They cleaned it up. Right. Oh, but that's human waste. This should be, a toxic waste.
Right.
Clean up,
all Get the EPA out here. Check it out here.
Sorry, these were druggies,
Right.
And, it was horrible.
Yeah, but that's your job. It's your property now. You clean up, do whatever you want with it. Yeah. Nobody's going to complain. Yeah.
The cool thing in this one is they didn't buy it from the house flipper. This lady's son bought it, and then a year later he sells it to his mother, and now she's like, oh my God, if I was to do a lawsuit, I'd have to sue my son. So she wants the government to take responsibility for what her son didn't tell her.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I told her that. But yeah, it's a real issue.
Oh no, it is. That's what I'm saying. These people leave these places and they have these ideas that basically they've been brainwashed. Yeah. They've been conditioned, and in their minds, they think they're not as crazy as the really crazy people. Mm-hmm. It's like before I became a Christian, I compared myself to my friends who I thought were the real sinners.
Yeah.
I was kind of bad, but I wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
And it's funny, after I got saved, I realized I was that bad. Yeah. I mean, I was really bad. Yeah. I was as bad as them.
The lies we tell ourselves.
Oh yeah. Wasn't there a book by that title or something, or a movie or something? The lies we tell ourselves. That's exactly right. And so that's what's happening with all these people moving from California. We've got an issue in our neighborhood now, which makes me ready to move, more and more the covenants. No one, housing association doesn't have a good covenant. Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, nobody even joins the association anymore.
That's my neighborhood too.
Yeah. And so there's no covenants. And so the people can just pretty much do what they want. Mm-hmm. And so people don't park in their driveways anymore. Mm-hmm. They want to park on the street.
Oh, yeah.
And because they have too many cars to park on the street in front of their house, they decide they want to park in front of other people's houses, one of them being mine. Mm-hmm. And the guy has a car that doesn't have a muffler or whatever and wants to rev it up. And we're okay because I've got my thermal windows, which are noise proof.
Yeah.
You go down, my neighbor's catty corner have a baby and a little boy. They don't have my thermal windows. Mm-hmm. And man, I mean, they don't know what to do. And they live right next door to the good news from what I heard, the guy's out of town who actually owns it, and he apparently leases it out while he's out of town or something.
And you just described to me exactly why rural America is more conservative, more libertarian, more let people live how they want to live. But when you start being packed into these little neighborhoods and subdivisions, and now all of a sudden how your neighbor lives affects you, affects your housing value and everything, this is where liberalism comes in.
Yeah.
It's a part. Why are our cities liberals, run by liberals, or leftists? I won't even call them liberal. It's too nice a name for them. But rural America has no stomach for that kind of leftist, tyranny. It's the way it is.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Something needs to happen. I mean, I would think, see, like in the old days, I mean, if it were done properly, the neighbors would come knock on the door and say, dude, you got to do something that we're going to, take care of you. We're going to kick you out of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And, but nowadays half the neighborhood, I don't want to get involved. I don't want to get involved. So the balance is what's missing. It's out of kilter.
Yeah.
So,
Oklahoma legislature made national news. Governor was doing his State of the State address, and this week a whole bunch of trans people, LGB whatever XYZ, all showed up in mass and were very loud at the Capitol, and it made national news, and the gauntlet's been thrown down. This will be the most caustic, the most abrasive legislative session we see. Actually, 2018 was tough. That was the tax increase thing, and followed by, mental health being defunded. I was part of a group of 10,000 that showed up over mental health defunding.
I think this one is over the, cause I've been following it on Twitter. There are two issues right now that are, really facing the governor and, Ryan Walters.
Yes.
He's in the middle of it.
Yes.
And, one of them is the removal of any CRT stuff. That's one of them. And the other one is the removal of any books dealing with, transgender things,
or generally anything pornographic.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so, because they're out there. I see it on Twitter. There's one person I've been dealing with. The beauty of it is it makes my day.
Yeah,
because these people. I don't know what it is they think people are stupid or they really are that stupid.
Yeah.
When they read this stuff and they're not used to anybody actually coming against them. Like your buddy, the legislator that I was telling you about that I was dealing with, he finally quit coming back and arguing with me. Remember I told you? Oh,
yes. Andy Fugate?
Yeah. So I haven't heard from him.
Yeah.
But there's a new person on there, and it's about education and books that are being banned. They're banning these books about gays and but it's not just books about being gay. It's books that are inappropriate for young children.
Right.
Is all that's being banned, and who can come to these shows and things like this in Oklahoma and things like that. But they try to twist it as all of a sudden we're pulling a Hitler type.
Oh, of course.
Nazi type.
Right. They pulled that in DeSantis with what they call the Don't Say Gay bill. There's nothing about Don't Say Gay in the bill.
Right.
But they are changing the narrative to an argument that makes them feel better about and stronger and have the moral high ground. Right. It's kind of like somebody said, yeah, if I was as bad as they say I am, I would be angry with myself, but it's all lies.
Yeah, and they're coming really against also the school voucher bill that they're trying to get out. They're very upset with that, and I'm fighting against them. I'm fighting for the school voucher bill because the misinformation, the lies, these people will stoop to anything to get their way. And someone's got to fight. We've got to fight. What I can tell you, our audience, is show yourself approved, a workman rightly dividing the word of God, first of all. And secondly, rightly dividing the word of truth. I mean, basically, just the truth. Know your stuff.
Yeah.
Be aware of what's really happening so that when you read this stuff in the newspaper, online, wherever you hear people talk about it, you know the truth, and you can come back at these people, say, no, you're lying. This is not the truth. Here's the truth. And then when they come back, yes, it is the truth. You show me.
Yeah. I had a good talk, a couple of years ago with, a school board member, Shotomezi School District. And one day we meet, and he called me up. It was a follow-up. And he was so incensed at this bill that supposedly the House had passed over at the Oklahoma legislature. I said, that's not at all what the bill says. Oh yeah, that's what our superintendent tells us, I said, you know what? If all your information's coming from that woman you hired, and you're taking her word for everything, you're not a very good employer. You're not holding her accountable. I said, you got to have other sources. And I, connected with OCPA. They'd never heard of them. It's only the most prominent think tank and lobbying organization. And I said, you're just wrong on this. And and I'm glad that I got to expose that, because in the school board members, what else am I being lied to about?
Oh, yeah. It reminds me of Herman Cain and his first book that he put out way back in 2009. They Think You're Stupid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And maybe I should do the sequel, because I told him when he put that out, I think you remember, I told him, I was interviewing him right after he came out, and I told him, I said, you need to do a sequel that says, and it appears they're right.
Yeah.
Because, people buy this stuff.
Yeah.
They don't care enough to really look into what is really behind this. And they just, one of my, real favorite things now is, Jamie Raskin. Have you seen him lately? He's a congressman. He's on the on the January 6th. Well, he's wearing a blue head rag. I don't know if he's got cancer or something's going on with him, but he's wearing a blue do-rag is what we used to call it when people in the in the ghetto, in the hood, used to get their process a conch, black people get their hair straightened and put all this chemical in there, but they'd have to wear these rags. That's where the Crips and the Bloods. He better be careful. He's wearing a blue one, which is the Crips.
Yeah. And
if somebody sees him, they'll shoot him because he's wearing a blue head rag. The Bloods will get him. But anyway, but here's Jamie Raskin wearing this blue head rag in Congress, in the House. He's just sitting there with his head. I don't know what that's about, but he, to me, is the most vile person that I've seen in a long time. Just lying scoundrel. Lying scoundrel. Yeah. I mean, when I see him, I just said, man, you really, I would not want. Sometimes I have to ask God, Lord, how do you let people become this vile? No, seriously.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how do you let them come out of the womb and end up this bad?
Romans 2. And God gave them over to reprobate mind.
Yeah, but why?
Yeah.
I mean, somebody should have stopped them early.
We were talking about the origin of words early in the show today, and here's why I want to tie it in. What we learned from the Tower of Babel is some ways that God defeats our vain aspirations is he'll confuse us to where we can't communicate well. And sometimes he'll tie us in knots or let us turn on each other. And I sometimes wonder, God, are you in this? Are you behind this? Because he was at the Tower of Babel. I got two good quotes today.
Okay.
Can I give you?
Yeah, let's close with that.
First one's from Roseanne Barr.
Oh, yeah.
Roseanne Barr wants us to know her pronouns are kiss my, and I'll let you guess the third. And then the other is from 5 years ago, Donald Trump. Donald said in 2018, NATO partners want us to protect them from Russia, and yet they pay billions of dollars to Russia for oil and gas. And what's worse is we're the schmucks paying for the whole thing. And how right he is. How many trillions have we spent to defend the borders of Ukraine?
It was Angela Merkel.
Yeah.
When she did that. She did that specifically because she hated Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. People don't remember this, probably. No, I'm sure you guys don't remember this, but when Donald Trump, Angela Merkel came to power about the same time as Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she
became the chancellor of Germany.
Yeah.
And during that time, Angela Merkel became the leader of the free world.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember
the globalist. Yes.
Right. She became, all of a sudden, she was everywhere. Barack Obama ceded that title to this lady from Germany.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Germany people, yeah. Deutschland. Okay. Yeah. All of a sudden, Germany had risen again. See, the reason I lived there, I was born there, lived there a long time.
Your original citizenship
exactly,
is German.
It was German. And I love Germany, but it's not America, people. It's not America. They want to be us, but they're not us. Okay. So Angela Merkel was the leader of the free world for a minute. Okay. Mm-hmm. And Barack Obama is the one who allowed her to be the leader of the free world. Mm-hmm. So Donald Trump comes along. Mm-hmm. He takes the baton from her again. Mm-hmm. She hated that.
Oh, yeah.
She hated it. Macron didn't like it. Macron was another one who, in their minds, Barack Obama was nothing but an N-word taking a seat for a period of time. Okay, that's all it was. Barack Obama, you liberals, you people, you can think what you want about how wonderful, how great Obama was. No, he's the guy who was bowing to the king of Saudi Arabia. He was bowing to this person, that person. But Barack Obama was not respected, okay? He was somebody that they put up with for 8 years, okay? And he was a member of their club, but he was not the leader of the free world. Let me put it that way. In order of importance, it was Angela Merkel, it was Emmanuel Macron from France, and then Obama might have been number 3, but he was probably not even there. I would say probably the late premier of Japan, who just got shot and killed a couple of years ago. But even Vladimir Putin didn't care for Obama. Okay, yeah. He hated him. I mean, he no respect, no respect,
yes.
No respect for him. It was like dirt on the bottom of his shoes. Okay,
yeah.
So Trump comes along. All of a sudden, Angela, just another European leader again, and Donald Trump is once again the leader of the free world.
Yeah. And
he's telling people where, when, and how to get off.
And here, I'm going to put it up on our podcast, those watching live, our video podcast, a picture that says it all. 2017, the G20 meets, and you've got all these world leaders, and Trump's sitting here. Sitting down, arm folded, and Merkel's got to lean in over the table. You'll see it here.
Yeah, but look at the Japanese leader. He's like with Trump.
Yes.
He's with Trump saying, who does she think she is?
This optics says it all.
You'll see it when he puts it up. But basically, the Japanese guy's looking at her and saying, who do you think you are, you Nazi pig? And that's almost, if I put a caption on there, who's this Nazi swine think she is?
And look at Trump's facial, body language says it all.
Oh yeah.
The great negotiator, Donald Trump, the art of the deal. He's got her playing right into it.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen that a lot.
Merkel, let me say this. I've often said this about people. I don't care if they love me. By God, they're going to respect me. Putin didn't love Trump, but by God, he respected him. And respect is more important than love.
Yeah.
It's
true. The people in Saudi, the Saudi Arabians, the Iranians feared him. The Iraqis respected him. I mean, all, down the line, the people, and you can tell the Japanese prime minister there, he respects him. He's on his side there. He sees that because they knew that this guy, there was no BS.
Yeah.
What you saw is what you got.
Yeah. And here's why you don't see the Europeans criticizing Biden. They love that he's weak.
Oh, yeah.
They hope he stays there.
Exactly.
They don't want a strong U.S. presence. They want to set the narrative.
Because they want to be power important again.
Be elevated, yeah.
Right. They want Europe to be important again and not subservient to America. That's exactly what
and this is much the reason why Nigel Farage made such a case for Britain get out of the EU. They don't respect us.
He wanted a transatlantic treaty
right.
with America.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that Trump was saying much during this time was that he says, NATO either needs to be radically reformed or just sunsetted. Yeah. And now I see why.
Sure.
It's not helping us in this situation. It's committing us to and causes that aren't in our best interest. So.
Yeah. No, that's right. And, we, we could start another whole show on Ukraine, but, that's a touchy situation. I'll just say pray about that situation because that could go bad very quickly.
Yes.
I think, Russia is taking an intermission right now before they rebuild and strike.
Right.
And we have got to be real careful on that.
Much of the farmland in Ukraine is very much like western Minnesota, the heavy clayish kind of black soil, the Red River Valley area. In fact, so much that some of our farmers went over there in the 70s. Agriculture Secretary Bob Berglund did that. And because it was this exchange, Ukraine is such rich farmland, so rich. But in the spring, when the snow's melting, you can't get worse than stuck in that black clayish kind of soil. And this is the problem with our Abrams tank. It is by far the heaviest tank out there. And it's going to be a problem. Another news update. Ukrainian soldiers are now in Oklahoma at Fort Sill, are in the midst of their training to learn how to use the Patriot missile system. And so we are deeply committed. Oklahomans deeply committed. So that's our Ukraine update that I have.
Yeah. So it's a mess, but anyway, just we pray for the best. I think the tide is slowly turning. People are waking up. We're tired of giving money to Ukraine, our money, because of it's creating real problems financially. We're running out of food, eggs, things like that. Inflation is bad. Our economy has not been good. We need to invest in America. We need to seal the border. There's so many things here at home that we need to take care of that. We need to just tell Ukraine, sorry, but you need to, or either that or Germany, France, England, you guys are the neighbors. You guys take care of it. Denmark, Sweden, Finland, if you guys are all that big and bad and you can talk all the stuff that you want to, you take care of it, okay? We've got our own issues on the Pacific side and to our southern border, okay? But we don't need to be spending our billions of dollars over in Europe, in far off Eastern Europe, as a matter of fact. So, just take care of it. Or as Gomer Pyle used to say, handle it.
Yeah. And I've got one shout out I want to give to Francetta Mays, who is the new Eastern Oklahoma president at NAACP. I had the good honor of meeting her. She's the pastor of Mount Vernon AME Church and a fantastic lady. I've extended an invitation. We just got to set a date to have her come in for a segment here. Eddie, you'll love this lady.
So National Association of Cool People.
There you go. Yeah, for the advancement
of cool people. Yeah, that's right.
But, it's there. If you're going to have that organization, all you can pray for is people of character and leadership. And she and the Oklahoma president, Anthony Douglas, Anthony's actually helped me work on some reforms in the Republican Party. And boy, did he get flack from the left for doing it. But Anthony is truly for the advancement for all options available to the people he's mandated to be looking out for. If they want to be Republican, by God, we're going to make sure they can get involved. And since then, that was 8 years ago I worked with him. Since then, right now, a third of our county leaders in the Oklahoma Tulsa Republican Party are people of color. They identify as
What
African.
color are they?
Yes, African.
Green, red.
They identify
Chartreuse.
as blick.
Black. Black.
As you call it. And probably a fourth of our county convention last time were people of the black community. And so it's happening, folks. We're learning to be a big tent, not centered around color, not centered around money, but centered around principles we all believe should run our nation. So anyway, that's my shout out, Francetta. Thank you for being there.
Now our goal is to bring in the yellow people.
Yeah, if we can find them.
If we can find them. No,
Well,
I know where they are. I'm working on them.
I'm being told that
They're here.
the term is supposed to be brown, referring to East Asians.
Oh, they're yellow to me.
Yeah, I know that. I grew up
Actually, they're just white like everybody else. You know, it's funny, but I'll tell you, I know where they are. They have all the marijuana farms.
Oh, yeah.
That's where you find them.
Yeah, I told Francetta, I said, look, we're all just.
By the way, I'm just being racially insensitive right now. That's what I'm doing.
He's
I'm
poking the bear.
I'm trying to see how far I can go for Facebook to ban us again.
Yeah, and by the way, my update is, Eddie, it wasn't anything you did. I got personally suspended from Facebook for a week. Not because anything I said or did. As you remember, Facebook claims to be a platform. That's how they got this Section 230 exemption from any lawsuits for defamation. Because they said, we don't editorialize. We're not a publisher. We just allow all these views to get out there. Not only are they no longer true to that, but Sooner Politics, which does run as a platform and has multiple ideas, includes one young black man named Terrence Williams, grew up here in the Tulsa County area. And it was things he posted that they had a problem with. And they censored me. They suspended me because I repeatedly posted his stuff. And the thing that they really got upset about is that he claims the Chinese killed hundreds of thousands of Americans with COVID. You're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to have that opinion. And so Facebook, not only you hypocrites for not being the platform you claim to be, but you're worse because you suspend those who do operate as a platform.
Well, we're really pushing it today, aren't we?
Yeah.
By the way, I have to say this. My top clients, my insurance business, are Chinese. Very, very, very good friends.
Yeah.
And, and their kids. In fact, my main one, client, she has a son. Genius. Kid's 12 years old. 7th grade. The kid's unbelievable. And he wants to be a lawyer. But the kid is he's read my book.
Oh.
Cover to cover.
Well, he's a smart man.
Well, yeah, but she just brought it home to him.
Boy,
they call me Uncle Huff.
Ah, there you go.
Uncle Huff.
What?
You see Uncle today?
Yeah.
But anyway, but the kid, he comes in and we talk, but the kid knows so much about everything. Now, he was starting to lean left, but he came in and, I'm working on it.
There you go.
I want a future Chinese conservative leader is what we need. But no, seriously, this kid is just amazing. She's about to turn 13, and his goal is to attend an Ivy League school.
Yeah.
And, but man, no, I mean, seriously, but you talk about, good clients. I mean, these people are sharp.
Yeah.
I mean, very, very sharp. They don't speak the best English, but they know how to take care of their business. They take it, and they're very loyal. They're very faithful. I mean, if I could have a business with nothing but Chinese clients.
Yeah.
Chinese and Koreans. I mean, hey, I would do it.
One of my clients, just said, yeah, I'm Chinese, and I'm, just kind of asking how you got here. And he said, no, I'm from Taiwan. But they still say, no, we are Chinese. We just live in the free state of Taiwan.
Right. It's just an island off the mainland, but it's not that far. Yeah,
brilliant. In fact, these folks, sharp people, and doing well.
They are.
This family I'm talking about lives next door to Henry and Jane Primo.
Oh.
In the gated community. By the way, way to go, Henry. Just got out of hospital. Had a little health setback he posted up on. We haven't forgot about you. We got to get Henry in this seat right here.
Yeah, we need to get him in
We'll make that happen, Henry.
But yeah, get back to the thing. But no. It's amazing, the Chinese, the natural inclination they have as a people towards education.
Absolutely.
The first time I met these kids, the 13-year-old now, he was just this little, he was probably about 9, and his little brother is probably 3 years younger. We're talking brat with a capital B. I mean, these kids were just wild, crazy, and I was about to hang them on the back of my door with the coat hanger there by their neck. They just hang them there and make them hang there like that for about an hour with their mom. But then to see him, the kid just shot up. He's tall, good looking, young Chinese kid. But man, I was just blown away by how smart and how mature thinking already is. It's just amazing. And so I'm looking forward to some really, really great things there.
Yeah.
But it's just amazing to see culturally, the difference, the emphasis that different cultures have on things, and it really incenses me when I continue to look on TV and hear Congress, particularly white Congress people and white people. You look at, what's that women's show that's on TV all the time?
The View?
Yeah. And they're trying to talk about racial inequality, racial this and that. No, it's just you and your constant low expectations. The greatest line that George W. Bush ever used was talking about the soft bigotry of low expectations. That is the greatest line ever. And I'm starting to believe it's not such a soft bigotry. I think that is hard bigotry right there. Low expectations. And they're going to push that bigotry. They're going to push that low expectation to keep them. I came up with this years ago that the greatest way for me to keep your kids from competing with my kids, Dave, is for me to convince you that they can't.
Right. And it's somebody else's fault.
But your kids can't compete with mine. Yeah, you're right, because they're not going to let you. So you don't have to worry about it. I will take care of you and I will take care of them.
Exactly.
You don't have to work at it. You don't have to do anything about it. I will take care of you. Meanwhile, my kids are going to go to Harvard and Yale, but I'm going to go ahead and pay for you guys just to live in the project.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness, can you imagine?
Yeah.
I would take, you can, as Roseanne Barr would say, you can kiss my behind on both sides, I mean, really, because that is, I don't need your help, whitey or blackie, whatever color you are, but too many black folks have accepted that and buy that and the other ones are taking money for their kids. The new one is the 21st century version, and it actually started in the last century, was say, you're black. And so I tell you, Dave, listen, I'll take care of you and your kids if you'll help me keep these people in line. So you Al Sharpton. Hey, Al.
Yeah.
Jesse.
Yeah.
So and so. You keep those people in line. Don't worry, we'll keep them fair. But, you know, I'll give you a brewery distribution.
You'll make me a poverty pimp.
Exactly.
That's what J.C. Watts referred to the black civil rights leaders.
I will take care of you. What do you need? Oh, you want to own the Budweiser distributorship for Chicago in the area for your kids? Okay, yeah, you got it. I'll take care of it. It's done. Now you go out here and keep your people in line.
Yeah, sell out your own people.
Sell out your own people.
That's
what and then they have nerve enough. They have nerve to call Clarence Thomas or other black people that believe in succeeding on their own and working hard. They have nerve enough to want to call them Uncle Toms. Yeah. Hey, we've got to wrap up. We've almost 2 hours. Hey, everybody, put your finger on that page, put your bookmark there, and we'll try to remember and take it up from there. Man, it's been a fast 2 hours.
It's been a great show.
We've been talking a whole lot.
And my quote of the day, a winner says, I'll try harder. A loser says, it wasn't my fault. Which one are you?
But it was your fault.
Yeah.